Maybe that was it.
Yeah, you can see the microphone goes.
The microphone was moving before.
Yeah.
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 It just wasn't going out. We didn't have any output, so.
Okay.
Thanks.
So,
Sorry about that. Apologize for everybody online.
all
We
right,
are on to the committee of the whole meeting.
on to the committee of the whole meeting. So I hereby call to order this Milburn CC School District Committee of the whole meeting at 7:19. We didn't even do another roll call, did we? Jason?
No.
No, okay,
Good to go.
then we will go to public comments.
Okay, our first one is Corinne Lancaster. I'm Corinne Lancaster, the District Technology Coordinator and Media Specialist for the middle school. And I'm Savannah Corsi, so I'm standing for as also the librarians for the district. I'm here today to read a statement from ISLE that was released after the board meeting where we ended the Reader's Choice program. So the Illinois Reader's Choice Award list created by ISLE, Monarch, USM, and Lincoln provides student-centered and student-driven lists for children and young adult literature. The award's purpose is to encourage students to read widely for the recreation and information, to make decisions about the reading choices, and to find value in sharing their opinions about what they have read. The list encourages students to revisit favorite authors, genres, and topics, and to try new ones. These lists are important tools for teachers and librarians, whose charge is to encourage reading and promote excellent literature. These lists are resources for students who, as individuals, select which books to read and how many to read. Students read more when they are free to choose what they want to read. Each Reader's Choice list is created over several months and begins with teachers and librarians submitting student nominations from across the state. Students enthusiastically use these nominations to recommend and share favorite books with peers. Teen readers on the Lincoln Award reading panel review and discuss books alongside adult professionals, and teens get the final say in 4 of the 20 titles in the Reader's Choice program. These vetted lists include books that represent the experiences and reflect the interests of our state's diverse population and students. These vetted lists provide opportunities to expand readers' understanding of themselves, others, and the world around them. ISLE and the Rebecca Cottle Young Readers Book Award strongly believe in students' voice and student choice. Students are the voters who select each year's winners. Students, as well as the nominated authors, illustrators, and publishers, value these children's literature awards because they are truly selected by the audience from whom they are written, the students. ISLE and the Rebecca Cottle Young Readers Award view Illinois schools and public libraries' participation in Reading Choice Award programs as best practice. For these programs provide opportunities to encourage, amplify, and celebrate student voice and choice, and to help students see themselves as future readers and leaders. Reader's Choice Award programs help schools and libraries celebrate reading and establish a reading culture with their community and further support student reading motivation and academic achievement. This statement is also supported by Illinois Library Association, ILA, Illinois Heartland Library System, IHLS, and Reaching Across Illinois Library Systems, RAILS.
Before we let the next person go up, we will put you on a 3-minute timer. My apologies, I didn't put it on that time. But going forward, we will go with a 3-minute timer. And we'll just go from when you start talking, okay? All right, next one up.
Suzanne,
Okay.
and I'd like to call Corinne Lancaster and Megan Haneke out because I am speaking on behalf of our Milburn Federation of Teachers Union. Corinne Lancaster is a building representative for the middle school, and Megan Haneke is a building representative for our elementary school. It has been made clear that after the last board meeting, your community members feel strongly about the importance of keeping the Reader's Choice program in place. I'm here to share how your teachers feel. We know that these programs play a significant role in encouraging student voice, choice, and leadership development. We agree with ISLE and Rebecca Cottle Young Readers Book Association listing the benefits this program brings to our students' educational experiences.
And we want you to recognize the Illinois Library Association also stands behind the right to have a Reader's Choice program, and that this is considered best practice in which school libraries celebrate reading and establish a reading culture. Given the overwhelming support from the union members, we would like the board to revisit the decision to remove that Reader's Choice program from our district. We believe in fostering an inclusive and collaborative environment where all voices are heard and considered. We would recommend further discussion with our librarians and teachers to discuss any concerns that led to this initial decision. Our ultimate goal is to ensure that our students receive the best possible education and opportunities for growth. We look forward to working together to find a resolution that aligns with the needs and priorities of our students and educators alike. Instead of voting on a decision where you don't have all the facts, have a discussion in order to make an informed decision. Thank you.
We have Leah Neville.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Leah Nephew, and I created the CODL program petition. I created the petition on March 19th, one day after the last Board of Education meeting. First, I would like to jump back to the previous board meeting on March 18th, when a board member said, "I've had at least a dozen people that I know find out about this and say, what are we doing? What are we promoting?" In discussion to the CODL programs book, quote, stands for kids, unquote. A dozen people may sound like a lot, but over 1,600 people have signed my petition in support of the CODL program. This is not one voice from one person. It is a shared opinion from a multitude of people from our community. I have not met a single person, besides the 4 people on the board, who are against the CODL program staying in District 24. In addition, the petition has successfully passed 1,068 signatures, which is the number of children currently enrolled in District 24 schools. That's more signatures than the number of kids enrolled in this district. That should tell you something about how this community feels. This board has successfully removed a kid's educational reading program due to their own political beliefs. You took away a program from 1,068 children who won't be able to experience the reading education that is provided by the CODL program. I hope that you see the hurt and anger stemming from this decision. The community elected you to be their voice, but you are going against what the community wishes. You are putting your political ideology into the decision about children's education. The CODL list was never political, you made it political. Censorship of books should never be allowed in public schools or other places of education. Education is what forms children into adults. Celebrating differences is not left-leaning. It's embracing the differences that form the foundations of this country. I hope the board reflects on its detrimental mistake of removing the CODL program in District 24. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We have Patty. Is it now?
I don't know how to get over there. Good evening, everybody, and thanks for the opportunity to talk to you tonight. I'm a parent of 2 grown kids who attended the Milburn schools and who benefited greatly from the CODL program. And I'm extremely disappointed in your decision as a board to end the CODL children's program. And I'm actually angry. I'm angry at myself because I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't engaged in what was going on and what decisions were being made by the board. So I'm here tonight to show my support for reinstating the CODL program. And my reasoning is very simple. I trust the 80 professional librarians and the educators who have expertise and experience in selecting the CODL books. I've trusted them for many years, and I'm not about to stop trusting them today. By contrast, I don't trust, nor would I trust, the opinions of any school board member or anybody else for that matter to select a children's book list who does not have the equivalent expertise and experience of these 80 coddle professionals. So in my mind, it's really just that simple. I do not see that there ever was a problem that needed to be solved in the first place, let alone a problem whose solution would be to kill the coddle group. And I believe that, like me, most parents and community members did not ask for you to step in and to solve that problem. In our view, which doesn't exist. And as for the board's rationale for ending the program, my understanding is that the only ones who mentioned political reasons, such as left-leaning, are the board members themselves who voted to kill the program. Now, to illustrate this point, when I listened to the recording, I heard that some of the concepts like social justice were deemed to be left-leaning. But the last time I checked the dictionary, there was no left or right leaning to social justice. It was just about fair treatment and equitable status of all individuals and social groups. But I guess if you look at life through a political lens, you know, anything and everything can look political to you. So I'm very passionate about this. I also heard a member talk about PragerU, which I've been learning about, and in my mind, that is very political and right-leaning and started by a talk show host. So to wrap it up, I will end with this appeal to your better selves. Please do the right thing by your students, by your schools, by our kids, and our community. And please bring back fun. Thank you.
And we have Deborah, is an all-top well.
Good evening. My name is Deborah Althoff-Will, and I am a board member and a past president of the Association of Illinois School Library Educators. I am also a past president and a board member of the Illinois Association of Teachers of English. I am here tonight representing both of those organizations, literally thousands of Illinois educators. And we urge you tonight to reinstate the Reader's Choice programs for your schools and school libraries. I am also here tonight representing reading a statement from the American Library Association and the American Association of School Librarians. This issue has garnered national attention, and not in a good way. We are writing to express our concern over the recent decision to withdraw from participation in the Reader's Choice Awards, including the Rebecca Caudle Young Readers Book Award within the Milburn School District. At a time when navigating a vast and constantly shifting world of information is crucial, this decision is a loss for Milburn students. We ask the board reconsider the decision to not participate in the Reader's Choice Awards and to prioritize the expertise of certified school librarians to engage students in selecting award-winning books to meet the educational needs of students within the Milburn district. The Reader's Choice Awards play a vital role in providing access to diverse viewpoints and fostering a love for reading among young learners. Illinois school children actively participate in literary exploration and engage with many narratives and perspectives when they read books and then take part in the Reader's Choice Award process. I'm only going to read part of this due to time constraints because I respect the board and board's time. Just as with any books available in the school library, students have choice. Students have the ability to choose which 3 books they would like to read, which book they would like to vote for, and whether they'd like to participate at all. Choice and voice are what grow lifelong readers. We urge the Milburn School District Board to prioritize the promotion of diverse viewpoints and the cultivation of a love for reading among its students. Adding the Cottle Award books to the school libraries empowers students and honors the selections that Illinois 4th through 8th graders make in choosing books for this award. Milburn School District is rightfully proud of its mission to create a culture of learning that inspires and empowers students to enrich our community. As presidents of the American Library Association and American Association of School Librarians, we stand ready to provide support and resources to assist the Milburn School District in fostering a culture that will enrich student engagement in literature, support continued reading enjoyment, and encourage students to expand their reading options. Thank you.
Okay, we have Elizabeth Lynch.
Hello, board. My name is Elizabeth Lynch. I'm here as a mother of a 5-year-old, a 9-year-old, trying to raise 2 readers. These are a few of the novels that some of the board members said were too political for children in this community. Falling Short is a book about the friendship between a tall basketball star and a short chess player. In Starfish, a girl uses poetry to defend herself against classmates that bully her because of her weight. A child genius saves the world by solving the intricate puzzles of Einstein's hidden formula in Charlie Thorne and the Last Equation. 2 children living in a shelter connect over the love of classical music in a duet for home. Alias Anna is the true story of 2 sisters who hid from the Nazis and became renowned piano players. The main character of Hummingbird loves her family, church, writing, birding, her wheelchairs, and her new school. She searches for a magical bird that is said to grant wishes. In Lasagna Means I Love You, a girl connects with her recently deceased grandmother through a notebook and recipe project. I don't see a political agenda in these books. I don't think most people would see these books as political. I think that claim, the one that led this board to cancel the summer reading program, is uninformed, fringe, and frankly, embarrassing to this community. After all, it was not the families of this community that found fault with the list. Children and their parents didn't ask for the program to be canceled. In fact, they showed up to speak for an hour and a half at the last meeting, and they are here again tonight, telling you how much they love it and how much it means to them and their children. To ignore their voices is to put political ideology before your community. It's members of this board that have a political agenda if they trust a YouTube channel or a Facebook post over the years of experience and professional expertise of the district's librarians and teachers. What else can you call it when you suddenly cancel a successful and popular program in order to impose your own views on all of the children in the district? I urge you, listen to the families you are elected to serve. Listen to the staff that work for them and with them every single day. Restore the Cottle Awards because it's what any reasonable person would do if they looked at the list without bias and if they cared about the children of this community.
Megan Hunter.
Good evening. My name is Megan Hunter. I have a student at Milburn Middle School and a graduate of Milburn Middle School. I've been an educator in Lake County for 18 years. Dr. Lynn, Superintendent of D24 schools and presiding D24 Board of Education members, we are writing to file a grievance against the school board members who voted to remove Monarch, Blue STEM, and Cottle reading programs and books from the summer reading program and extracurricular activities available to D24 students. When reviewing the Milburn school policy, we find the vote by the school board majority on March 18th violates 6 specific policies. Beginning with section 8, community relations, 8-10, connection with community. The superintendent or designee shall plan and implement a district public relations program that will gather community attitudes and desires for the district, help the community feel a more direct responsibility for the quality of education provided by their schools, earn the community's goodwill, respect, and confidence, promote a genuine spirit of cooperation between the school and the community. The vote on March 18th is a direct violation of the connection with community policy. Section 6, instruction. Objectives for educational programs are to develop students' awareness of and appreciation for cultural diversity, stimulate students' intellectual curiosity and growth, encourage students to become lifelong learners, provide an educational climate and culture free of bias concerning the protected classifications identified in policy 7-10, equal educational opportunities. On March 18th, the board voted to remove a program that satisfies these objectives and opportunities for our students. 6-40, curriculum development. The superintendent shall develop a curriculum review program to monitor the current curriculum and promptly suggest changes to make the curriculum more effective, to take advantage of improved teaching methods and materials, and to be responsive to social change, technological developments, student needs, and community expectations. The review program should include input from a cross-section of teachers, administrators, parents, guardians, students, representing all schools, grade levels, disciplines, and specialized and alternative programs. This was not done. 6-80, teaching about controversial issues. The superintendent shall ensure that all school-sponsored presentations and discussions of controversial or sensitive topics in the instructional program, including those made by guest speakers, are age appropriate, consistent with the curriculum, and serve educational purpose. They should be informative and present a balanced view, respectful of rights and opinions of everyone. Emotional criticisms and hurtful sarcasm should be avoided, and there is no tolerance of profanity or slander. The district specifically reserves its right to stop any school-sponsored activity that it determines to violate this policy, is harmful to the district or the students, or violates state or federal law. The Caudle reading list is not a violation of this policy or any state or federal law. There is no evidence to support that it is harmful to the students. If anything, there's evidence to support the exact opposite. 6-210, instructional materials. All district classrooms and learning centers should be equipped with an evenly proportioned wide assortment of instructional materials. These materials should provide quality learning experiences for students, depict an accurate and unbiased way of the cultural diversity and pluralistic nature of American society, and contribute to a sense of worth of all people regardless of sex, race, religion, nationality, ethnic origin, sexual orientation, disability, or any other differences that may exist. And lastly, thank you for allowing me to speak. 6-260, complaints about curriculum, instruction, materials, and programs. Parents, guardians, employees, and community members with other suggestions or complaints about curriculum, instructional materials, or programs should complete a curriculum objection form. A parent/guardian may request that his or her child be exempt from using a particular instructional material or program by completing a curriculum objection form. The superintendent or designee shall establish criteria for the review of objections and inform the parent/guardian, employee, or community member as applicable of the district's decision. This allows parents to exempt their child from materials and programs. The entire program should not have been abruptly removed on March 18th by 4 board members serving their political ideologies. Thank you.
Ms. Pompeo?
I'm Kristen Kale, I'm a tech teacher at the middle school. It's not likely anything anyone says here will change the opinions about whether or not the bull caudimus means that. Sure, people tend to see things through different lenses, depending on their experiences and their beliefs. Perhaps though, you can change the lens through which you're viewing not only the caudal program, but education in general. What an incredible opportunity to teach your children about their beliefs. When parents disagree with a viewpoint expressed in a book, it's an opportunity to teach bias as well as empathy. This might sound something like this. I don't agree with the message this book is communicating. I believe XYZ. Reading this makes me angry and uncomfortable. At the same time, it's valuable to know that there are people who you will interact with who believe this. Having such a discussion not only allows parents to reiterate their own beliefs, but also provides an opportunity to teach empathy and civil discourse. I'll share a brief experience from my own family. My son is a junior in college, and through whatever insights and experience he's gained, he's developed beliefs that are pretty contrary to my own. I disagree with many of the ideas that he shares during discussions, and sometimes they even make me angry, but at the same time, it also makes me proud, not only of him, but of us as parents, because we're able to share our beliefs with our children with the understanding that there's a whole world out there to explore and consider and evaluate. Encouraging children to think critically and with empathy and flexibility while expressing their ideas civilly is one of our greatest accomplishments. I would consider it a parenting failure if our children base their ideology on what we've said and refuse to consider other viewpoints. If we're to truly educate our children, we must allow them to be exposed to ideas and passions that differ from our own. Not necessarily to change their mind, but to deepen their understanding and help them realize that not everyone believes or thinks the same way we do. Encouraging children to think divergently and with empathy and an open mind is exactly what we need to dig ourselves out of this political gridlock that we've created. Providing books that explore experiences other than their own is a remarkable opportunity for learning and one that should be celebrated rather than eliminated.
We have Esther Hubbard. Good evening. I'm here again today, presenting before the board to address the value of reading a collection of books written by a variety of authors. I read both of these books that I set forward to you today as examples that, and both of them, of course, were called out by Mr. Ruggles during the March 11th Board of Education meeting. Stamped for Books, which of course is part of this funnel program this year, is a book written by 6 scholars teaching racism and anti-racism. The historical facts are presented in a format understandable and age appropriate. This book, Breaking Dawn, is part of the Twilight series written by Stephanie Myers, a Mormon woman. It's fiction about vampires and werewolves, creatures that exist exclusively in fiction. This series has recently been the subject of a series of psychology professionals claiming bestiality and other, quote, perversions. We have our biases as humans and as parents. The Milburn District 24 provides parents choice. The majority who voted to remove an entire reading program over this one particular book has represented their own biases and have erred against the community you serve. Shame on you. Thank you.
Naomi Monk.
Good evening, I'm Naomi Monk. I'm a parent of a current Milburn middle school student, and I'm reading a statement on behalf of the friend who couldn't be here, Chris Hamilton, another Milburn parent. To the members of the Board of Education for Milburn District 24. I'm the parent of 2 students currently attending Milburn schools. My family moved to this district 8 years ago with the express purpose of wanting our children to attend Milburn. We came here for the same reason that so many other parents did, and very likely the same reason many of you did, because we had heard so many positive things about the school system here and wanted to try to provide our kids with the best possible chance to succeed and thrive. Events in our community have noticeably changed the landscape over the past handful of years. Much of what is occurring in the world around us, driven by the weaponized nature of our ever-expanding gap of political differences in this country, has filtered its way down into communities like ours. Neighbors who once saw eye to eye now find themselves standing on opposite sides of a chasm of differences that never existed before. The hyper-partisan nature of the present-day political discourse is tearing the fabric of our society, leaving our community divided into two camps who are continually and increasingly at odds with each other. Worst of all, this division often arises over issues that often were, even up until the very recent past, entirely uncontroversial topics. The elimination of our longstanding reading program at the recent board meeting is a clear example of this divide, and it has undeniably touched a nerve within our community locally, as well as other communities across the state. This has resulted in an avalanche of public comment and feedback, both locally and beyond, and has brought unwanted negative attention to our district in a way that harms all of us. More directly, though, it has taken away a reading program that has been treasured by students for decades. I'd like to try to strip away the politics from this discussion, though I acknowledge and appreciate that perceived political leanings in the content of these books lies at the heart of it. Stepping away from the controversy for a moment, however, I think it's important that we all try to look at the bigger picture here. I do not recall any comment, whether from the public or members of the board themselves, that expressed any opinion in opposition of the actual goal of this reading program. Without dissent, we have all universally agreed that getting our kids excited about reading is paramount. We have also heard loudly and clearly from the parents and children of our district, both former and current, that this program has had a profound impact on their lives. Having said all of that, I want to also say that I hear your concerns too. If I take your words at face value, given you the full benefit of the doubt in your intentions, then it seems clear to me that you value reading as much as I do. What I saw occurring prior to the end of the discussion and resulting vote were board members raising concerns about the content of the program and beginning a discussion regarding potential compromise to augment that program to address those concerns. If I'm correct and we are in agreement on this point, then I implore you, please consider at least temporarily reversing your prior decision, and let's all come together as members of the same community to begin putting up plans in place not to eliminate this program, but to find a way to augment it in such that it can be a program we can all equally enjoy and take part in. Jennifer Blakely.
My name is Jennifer Glickley, and I've been a resident of the Milburn School District for 20 years. Both of my children went through Milburn schools from kindergarten to 8th grade and are now in their 20s. Yes, they are. Let me share a fun fact about myself. My favorite movie is Grease. I can recite the movie from front to back, including singing songs and doing even some of the dance moves. Now, for those of us that grew up in the 70s and 80s, we know how inappropriate that movie is. And even though it was my all-time favorite movie, I did not let my children see the movie until they were in high school because I was not prepared to have a conversation with them about what a hickey from Kinnicky was, or what it means when a typewriter skips a period. This is called parenting. When there's something that you're not prepared to talk with your children about, you determine what is best for your child and your family. I did not go to Netflix and have them take down Grease. I did not go to my library to make sure that it was not in the library. I made sure to tell my children that even though I loved the movie, that there were some inappropriate parts that I did not want them to see. Now, did they go and watch the movie without me? I'm not sure. But what I do know is that I clearly communicated my desires to my children. I did not impose those desires on anyone else or anyone else's children. Again, that's called parenting. I have been loosely following the school board's actions for more than a year now, and it's apparent that specific school board members are using the influence of their position to guide the district in a direction that the majority of the residents seem not to agree with. If you do not want your children to read a book, don't let them. You are the parent. You need to parent your children. But do not dismantle a program that educators who you trust with your child's education and have spent years promoting a program just because there is one book on the list that is on the list that you don't like. All of this for one book. If you are not ready to discuss racism with your child, don't. But don't keep others from having the context to have that conversation. As the author in this very book states, stand for kids, people can change. And I really hope that you take this as an opportunity to change too.
Anna and Elizabeth. My name is Anna Vivian, and this is my daughter, Elda Vivian. I'm not only a parent in this district, but I'm also a staff member. I have been a special education teacher for the past 21 years. And in those 21 years, I've witnessed firsthand the benefits of the Caudle Reading Program. The Caudle Reading Program is much more than just a list. The Caudle Reading Program is a stress reliever for many students, not only mine, many students. Walking into our Milburn Middle School with over 20,000 books, over 20,000 books. It can be debilitating to some, to many actually, not just to some. Having a list to focus on takes that stress away. With this list, students have wonderful books at their fingertips. I have experienced students who have broadened their horizons by reading many different books from many different genres. Students truly gain a love for reading. Many students increase their love for reading by increasing their own personal reading goal. The Caudle Reading Program also offers students valued collaboration among their peers, paraprofessionals, and their teachers. It is not feasible for students to collaborate without this list. Collaboration is key to learning and growing as a student. Cornell University states, the benefits of collaborative learning include development of higher level thinking, oral communication, self-management, and leadership skills, promotion of student facility interaction, increase in student retention, self-esteem, and responsibility. This collaboration is able to occur because students are reading from the same list. With the 20 books within the program, students are able to pick and choose which books they would like to read. The prizes that go along with the program are not needed, but they are motivating to some. I have heard students make comments such as, this year I've only read 7. Next year my goal is to read more. Sorry, that's Ellie's turn.
My personal goal is to read all Caudles if we have the program or not. This program has motivated me to read different genres. In the past, I would only stick to a few.
Making a decision without even reading these books on your own is disappointing. Making statements that you are not a reader is not acceptable. There are other options such as audiobooks through a free app like Hoopla, which had 9 Caudle books from the 2023 list, or a paid version such as Audible. You can get all of them. At least take the time to listen while you're driving to and from your destination, or even making cleaning fun by reading or listening while you're cleaning. Additionally, it is important to understand as board members that the state of Illinois requires topics addressed within the Caudle books to be completed in regards to our Common Core social civic standards. Having a well-curated list of great literature inspires students to develop a lifelong love of reading. I urge you to reverse your decision. Daily stats.
Good evening, hi, my name is Carrie Fox, I am a Milburn parent. I'm a middle school librarian and I am, with swag, a member of the Rebecca Caudle Evaluation Committee for the state of Illinois. I first want to recognize Mr. Corsi and Ms. Lancaster for their hard work and their dedication to our Millburn readers and staff. Thank you for fostering a love of reading for all of our kids, for maintaining these incredible library collections that are diverse and inclusive, and really just making this a special place for our kids. You may not be aware of this, but this week is actually National Library Week. And coincidentally, and maybe a little ironically, today is also National Right to Read Day. The Illinois state reading list, like the Monarchs, the Blue Stems, and the Caudles, serve as an invaluable resource, providing guidance and directions for educators, parents, and students. These lists not only promote literary excellence, but they also ensure that students are exposed to diverse perspectives, cultures, and experiences through literature. So today, on National Right to Read Day, we recognize and reaffirm our commitment to uphold the fundamental right of every child to access quality education, including the opportunity to explore and engage with literature that reflects the richness and the diversity of the human experience. So I urge you, Millburn Board of Ed, to reconsider your hasty and careless decision to eliminate the Illinois state reading lists from our district. Let us continue to invest in the future of our youth by preserving the tools and the resources that empower them to become lifelong learners and informed citizens. Man, Hilliard.
I have nothing to add to all of the wonderful statements that have been made. Thank you.
Now, Mary Haley. I am reading this on behalf of Denise I, who is not able to attend tonight. Good evening, my name is Denise I am unable to attend the meeting this evening, and since the board is no longer reading emails for public comments, Mary Haley graciously offered to read my statement. At the last regular board meeting on Monday, March 18th, 2024, the public was made aware of the decision by the board to no longer read emails sent for public comment. Historically, the board has welcomed input and feedback from all stakeholders in the district. Why would the board create a necessary hurdle for people to participate in public comment? Has the board considered that there are people with mobility issues that may not be able to attend, people that have to work during the times of the board meetings, people that don't have access to transportation or childcare? The list goes on. Yes, you can say that anyone can email the board, but there are a lot of value from these emails being publicly shared. The vote to remove this is inconsistent with the board policy 8 of 10, connections with the community, which states, quote, community engagement is a process that the board uses to actively involve diverse citizens in dialogue, deliberation, and collaborative thinking around common interests for the district's school, end quote. The regular board meeting on Monday, July 17th, 2023, the action item on the agenda was approve board agreements. The board agreements were not linked to the agenda, and there was no public discussion as to what was contained in board agreements. Dr. Lynn said these agreements came out of the committee as a whole meeting on Monday, July 10th, 2023, which was an IASB school board training meeting. On the agenda for this meeting, it says, quote, adjourn to closed sessions starting right board self-evaluation, end quote. It appears that these board agreements were determined during closed sessions. Other than Dr. Lynn's reference to where the board agreements came from, there is no public discussion or reading of the agreements, and it goes to vote where it passed. Despite this voting passing, the agenda from the following meetings held on Monday, August 14th, 2023, through the last meeting held on Monday, March 18th, 2024 state, quote, please use the link above to email the Board of Education prior to this meeting. Any public comment will be read by the board during the public section of the meeting. Public comments will be received up until the beginning of the meeting at 7 p.m. the date of the meeting, end quote. The board agreements were created during closed sessions
They were not shared with the public, and there was no public discussion on this item in the meeting, which is a violation of the Opening Meetings Act. How is the public to know that there had been a change? How many emails have been sent to the board for public comment that were not shared despite the agenda indicating that they would be? I disagree with this change to the policy regarding regarding reading emails sent to the board. But if a change like this is made, it needs to be done via a change in board policy 2/230. Hold on tonight, I'll go fast. On tonight's agenda, an information discussion item for reading emails for public comment. I hope that the board will be reconsidering this item at the next regular board meeting on Monday, April 22nd, 2024, and will vote to read emails for public comment. For public transparency purposes, I ask that the meeting minutes for the regular board meeting on Monday, July 17th, 2023, be amended to include a link of the board agreements. In addition, any emails that were sent to public comment during the time of July 17th, 2023 to April 8th, 2024, and not shared by the board should be read during the public comment portion of the meeting on Monday, May 13th, 2024. Thank you for your time.
Brianne Collins. Hi, my name is Brianne Collins, and I am reading a statement from Erica Peterson here tonight. To the Milburn School Board, I wish that I could be there in person, but my family and I are downstate for the solar eclipse. As I'm sure you know, is not something that happens often. Some call it a once in a lifetime event. I feel the same way about the board's decision last month to remove the Reader's Choice program from our school. I believe that the board's decision at the last meeting was so incredibly unjustified, so blatantly out of touch with what the community wants, and so embarrassing and harmful to all our students that I believe, at least I hope, that this too will be a once in a lifetime event. Immediately after the board's vote last month, I shouted out in disgrace. Sorry, and I wish that I was there to shout it out again tonight. It is important for you 4 board members who voted to dismantle the reading program all understand what a disservice you have done to our community. You have put your own political agenda ahead of what is best for our children, and in doing so has also showed a stunning disrespect for all of us parents, as well as our teachers, our educators, our librarians, and our students. It is also important for everyone to know who opposes what you have done to feel heard and to know that this is not over. We will continue to make our voices known, and collectively we will bring this reading program back to our schools. Thank you. Erica Peterson.
How many more names?
4 more.
Okay, let's do it.
Berkeley Murphy.
All right. All right, so again, I'd just like to say for this one, so I'm a musician, I'm a jazz musician. So whenever someone's soloing and they do something that I like, I give them some snaps. I say like, yeah, so if you do something you like, you go for it. So yeah, what we all say will probably likely not change your guys' opinions, but I'm a little bit of a pest, so I'll keep speaking here if I want to. So the COW program, it's helped me become more aware about things around me, like what it means to be gay and lesbian. I read a book in 8th grade about this girl and how she figured out maybe she doesn't like guys, maybe she likes girls. And it was really informational. And it, of course, spreads racial awareness. In 8th grade, you have to read at least one book from a couple lists that deals with racist subjects, and it talks about it and informs people. And I also saw stuff for myself. I read stuff about people who like music and who really like playing the guitar and other stuff like that, and who I could really relate to and who were quirky and goofy like me. And to view another side of the story, quote from a really good book, To Kill a Mockingbird, you never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb inside of his skin and walk around from attic to station. And why would you ban a book that brings up huge societal problems? And like Thomas Jefferson said, I cannot live without books. Everyone is born bliss and not knowing about another person's lives. So why would you remove a program actively trying to promote and inform kids in a productive and healthy way? Just because a book mentions a sensitive topic does not mean you should use your power to ruin the whole program for all of these kids. So you should get over the pettiness and just look at what is past and what is benefiting rather than what it does that you don't like. And if we have a book that promotes racial essentialism and a skewed history, what would be correct about that? Did we not treat Americans unjustly? Did we treat them with a lot of respect? Did we keep water fountains and bathrooms segregated just because of a color of someone's skin? Did we put Japanese Americans during World War II in encampments? Did we savagely kill thousands of Native Americans? Did we put those surviving in boarding schools and then kill the Indian and save the man? Did we abuse those Indians and force them to speak our language, give up their culture, and learn ours? How does this book skew our history of the white man wanting to manifest a horrible and cruel destiny? Like that sound right there. That doesn't skew, but that's not.
Kathleen McGee. Hi, everybody. My name is Kathleen McGee. I've got 4 kids, 2 currently in Melbourne. Sorry if I'm too loud. I'm a lawyer. Please listen to what I say. But judge me how you want when I walk away. But I've got a 21-year-old, a 17, 13, and 9. I've got 2 at Melbourne, and I love Melbourne. We came here from Prince of Peace a few years ago, and it's great. By the way, Prince of Peace, a Catholic organization, uses a capital list too. I heard a lot of things I didn't like there, but that wasn't one of them. But I just want to thank everybody here because I want to, someone else said this. You guys did something I was unwilling to do. You volunteered to do this. You're doing it because you want to help the kids. I don't question that at all. I know that's a fact. All of you want to help the children. My dispute, and obviously I'm with everybody else. I think kids should be able to learn. They should be encouraged to read. They should have buy-in when they read. And that's what they get when they participate in a program like this and they get to vote. They get voices. And most frustrating thing about being a kid for me, and I know for my kids, and I have one hiding over there, is not having a voice. And so you're not just getting kids to read to learn, you're getting kids to read, to engage, and have a voice. And that is miraculous. And obviously everybody knows, all the studies show that the more a kid reads, the better they do in so much, not just in reading or any kind of verbal skills, but creative skills, science, all of it, it benefits. I want to address Dr. Lind. I did a little bit of research. I do know that under 105 ILCS 5/3-15.5, if you need the citation, let me know. Superintendents can remove school board members for willful failure to perform official duties. I'm not suggesting that's what should happen, but I take issue with the way this conversation happened. Again, no one was told about this. This happened. And the debate, I don't even know if that's the word to call it. Some people came in here having read some of the books, but every single person who voted to get rid of this program didn't read a single one of the books on the list. I want that in the papers. Okay, I want the papers or whoever reports about this, and you guys have brought so much upon you. And I feel bad, especially for the people who are fighting for this program. I don't doubt you're inundated with the most insane emails, and that is what it is. And I am grateful to all of you. And I feel guilty because I should have been playing a big role. Also, for everybody here, right now, the Illinois legislature is considering passing a law called the School Board Member Recall Act, which will give citizens right to attempt to recall members of the school board. Now, weigh in on my feelings about that means for good and evil, certainly, but it doesn't matter. I don't care what your politics are. What I care about is having a rational, reasonable, educated discussion. And that's what did not happen here. And in school board members, you can do better. Let me finish just very quickly. I have kids who hate homework. I have kids who love homework. The one over there loves homework.
But y'all didn't do what we make our kids do every day. My kids come home, I say, do your homework. Every single parent or person here who's had a kid, you make your kids do your homework. And my request for you is that you do your damn homework. Read the books before you start talking about it. And don't tell me what the authors think or what their lifestyle choices are. I don't care about that. That's an ad hominem argument. Read the materials before you start making reckless conjecture, irresponsible statements. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Kristen, is it Gilbert?
Kristen Data, I'm a Milburn, resident. I just kind of learned about this program a couple weeks ago, a month ago when this first started, and, I keep hearing about it in the days that follow, including through today, and I'm working during the day as well, so I'm kind of watching Facebook and working. I got to thinking, this program reminds me a lot about the real work world, for example, like there's a lot of corporations have, or industries have like consortiums that come up with the standards and the workflows. Pharma industry, medical industry, they all kind of have this process, and it's kind of similar, the actual people in the trenches sort of funnel up those processes. And that's, and they come up with standards for them for working. And then the employees actually use those processes, and they get to be involved with feeding back and trying them out. And so it reminds me of that a lot. And so not only that, but back in the corporate world, we got corporate goals, division goals, and it's not just like you do this, people are empowered to make decisions. So to me, this program is a great way to prepare kids for the work world, not just, and it's it's a community. It's not just a list that you can go buy at Amazon, the library. It's a process. It's a statewide process. It's a community, and it's they feel part of that in the process. They take ownership of it. Team building. I mean, I could go on and on. I'm not trying to do it so like corporate America, but I think the goal of schooling is to prepare kids for working someday. And this program, to me, just reminds me a lot about how the work world works, how industries work, how we work together to come up with processes and trying those processes. And that's what this is about. And to me, taking this is a great opportunity for these kids. And some other states, I know that I'm from Wisconsin, and I was talking to some people, and they're not aware of them having a program like this. So this is a jewel of this program. I'm surprised all the schools don't actually do it. And to take it away just seems really reckless. I mean, it's really an injustice to the kids, because this was just, like I said, I just got to know it better. I said, this is really a nice program. It really is. It's like, and from all the comments I heard today and the aftermath that followed, I mean, everybody really misses it. They liked it a lot, and it doesn't make any sense to take it away. So I implore the board to reconsider and put the program back. I mean, obviously there's a lot of talk about the next election and say, hey, but it should have to come down to it. Put the program back because it's the right thing to do. So thank you.
Okay, last one, Miss Annie Jacobs. I thought you forgot.
Hi, I'm Sandy Jacobs, and you'll all follow when I'm done, because you get to not have to listen. I've been a teacher in this district for over 25 years, and I've been a member of the District 117 school board for at least that long. So during my time on the board, there have been books brought to us that people wanted them to be taken out of the library, or they were part of the curriculum, and people objected to the material inside of them. But the first thing I did was I got a copy of any book that was brought up for discussion, and I read it from cover to cover. I know reading the 20 coddle books would be time consuming, but it's what you should have done if you felt that this was a left-leaning list. You simply cannot make that decision without knowing what's in all of those books. You can't just read the synopsis. It's like watching a trailer of a movie and then going and talking to somebody about the movie later. You gotta read the list. So the coddle list from 2024 is diverse. It raises awareness to different cultures in the storytelling way. 8 of the books are actually fantasies, superheroes, and futuristic societies. We only ask the kids to read 3 of them so that they can vote. That doesn't mean that's the only books that they check out of the library. So I collected a little data for you, but you'd like to know this. If you check the data from the library, you'll find that only 30% of the books checked out from our library were titles. And the other 70% of are the other books on the shelves, and the kids are taking them because they just want to read. That's all they want to do. And our top 3 titles are The Hunger Games, Lightning Thief, and Smile. And none of those are incentivized. None of those, you don't get a reward, you don't get a sucker, a sticker, or anything. But those are the books that the kids are picking, the top choices. And again, 30% coddle, 70% the other books. Please think about what you've done. I know how hard a board member works. You give up your time at least twice a month. There are seldom people at your meetings. They have no clue how much work it takes to be a board member. You do time-consuming work, and it is a thankless job. There are 4 of you that voted to take down a successful K-8 program. You demoralized the staff and made the community angry. In the face of so many standing up for these programs and no one stepping forward to support your choice, you made a decision that had a negative impact on the community. It makes me sad to think that this is what the 4 of you will be remembered for. Not for all the nights you've given up, not for all the tough financial decisions you have made to keep our district on a positive path, but for this one decision made truly without understanding and knowing the maturity you claim is not worthy of being celebrated and encouraged. Please reconsider and do not let this be your legacy as a board member. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, all right, so is there any addition of information or discussion items that the board members would like to have?
Regarding this?
Regarding, well, no, that's the topic's covered under summary. Anything else?
No.
Nothing? Okay,
Regarding this topic?
no, we're,
Just the board meeting.
is there anything else? Any other topic that you want to talk about?
Are we gonna talk further about?
That's
this?
next.
Okay. No.
Okay. So. Let's get to the main summer reading program.
Okay, so we have summer reading program on the list of agenda items to discuss tonight. This is clearly a difficult topic, has become a difficult topic, for better, for worse, for however we arrived here we are. So I know that people have all kinds of opinions on this and what we should do to move forward. So tonight is about, okay, here we are, how do we move forward? I appreciate the community engagement, even if I don't agree with all of it or agree with all of it. I appreciate the engagement tremendously. The board did have in our goals this year to increase community engagement, probably not the way that we wanted to. But nonetheless, here we are. And I'm always looking for the positives to come out of situations like this and an opportunity to teach, to learn. So there's all kinds of things that we can learn about it. Personally, I've learned a lot more about the caudal list than I knew before we entered into this discussion. Maybe I should have known more about it. I have learned more about this list and the process and the books on it since then, and how Milburn uses it, which is a little bit unique to other people, and I'll talk about that in just a second as well. I too have had 3 children go through the Milburn School District. My youngest graduated last year and is now at Lakes. They're not as avid readers as I would like them to be, so I appreciate, as I'm hearing parents talk about their kids reading, I'm like, oh, I wish. My wife and I are avid readers. We read voraciously, but our kids, not so much. The caudal list, not so much. They didn't appreciate it. That's not making any judgment on the caudal list itself. They just didn't connect with the materials, the genres, all things. And the list changes every year. So some years it might have more interest, some years maybe not. I don't know why. But that was our experience as a family. So completely different. And I didn't really know that even that much until talking to my wife about her experience going into the library in the summer, trying to choose books off the list and trying to choose books that our kids will read. So I'm gonna kind of highlight and summarize as quickly and briefly as I can so that we can get on with the discussion. I too appreciate the current board and their position and past board members that I know are in the audience, that I know, love, and appreciate, and that we all have different opinions about this. So I highly respect anyone that serves on the board and takes their time to volunteer in the community. And I also appreciate people that come and take the time to come talk at a board meeting. It was mentioned that we all see things through a different lens. That is obviously true. It has been mentioned that we are in a politicized, polarized environment. We're in a pressure cooker. So it's very difficult to have a conversation. Some people ask for a conversation. It's difficult to have a conversation even, and I don't even know if the board is the right place to have these conversations, quite frankly. I don't know how to lead the district from my role through these conversations well. I don't feel very adequate and equipped many times. When we talked about different things in the past that have come before the board or into our district, issues that we have come through many difficult times as a Melbourne district. Some of you were here for those times. Brutal. But at least they were clear on how, at least they were clear to me and to many other people how to move forward together. And we didn't really talk about our political opinions. Or we didn't even know. Maybe we did, we just didn't know. So there's all kinds of biases that come through. There's so many layers to this particular topic, and it all comes to a head here. And I have had many hours of conversations with many different people with many different opinions on this. So I appreciate that. It was mentioned that we do share the same goals. I think that everybody here wants our kids to read. I didn't hear anybody talking about on our board not wanting our kids to read more. I think we want our kids to read more. We talked about bias, and I'm not going to say that. I don't really want to get into the list of the bias and certain books and lists. We could be here forever trying to legislate that or determine that. This district, we talked about parenting and the parental rights of people to determine what their kids read. We have always been very supportive of parents, no matter what, in our district. So that is one value that I think we can all put our flag in and say we want to continue, where we want parents to understand what our kids are learning. We want parents to feel welcome in our district, no matter what. We want our kids to feel welcome in our district, no matter what. I think we've worked very hard with past boards in understanding that this is what we want. So, and I can go into detail another time about what we are doing in those areas. Have we been successful? Do we have ways to go? Absolutely. Do we still have a problem with racism in our district? Absolutely. Absolutely we do. I don't know what the solution is yet. We have done things. We need to continue to work toward ending racism, racist thoughts, bias, and all that. I think that everybody here would agree with that. We talked about student choice. So I think there's room for student choice, no matter what program or what idea we have moving forward, where we want students to choose or have choices in their selection of books. I think that's great. We want students to read more. We want students to read a wide variety of books. We want students to read books that have different authors from different backgrounds with different experiences. We talked about it opening us up to the rest of the world. We talk about, I know Suzanne mentioned it in her presentation, and Corinne, windows and doors, mirrors. So windows, mirrors. Did I say that right? Okay. And we've talked about it many times. We've talked about, we want to look out in the world. We want to be able to see books that reflect ourselves. And I hope you see that in our libraries. You look around. And what's most important to me is the worth and the value of all people, and by all people, I mean all. Right, far left, and everywhere in the middle. Whatever that means, I don't even know what that means anymore, so don't pin me down on definitions tonight. There's people in this, I look out in the audience, and there was even more last time. I know a lot of you very, very, very well. I appreciate you and love you. And I know that some of you think very differently than others, politically. It's very hard for me to see people at odds with each other over political issues or differing opinions about certain things. So that is very difficult for me. Right or wrong, I don't know, but that grieves me. So, what I'm trying to do is get us to move forward and working together and find some, if there is common ground here, there may not be, but if there is common ground to say, hey, what are we going to do moving forward? Are there better options? I've investigated a few different options that some of you in the audience have suggested, where students have choice, they have broader choice. We'll see what happens. And tomorrow, just to let the board know, tomorrow I'm meeting with the middle school ELA team to talk about summer reading program and some options moving forward. But what I need from the board tonight is a little bit of a parameter for how we can move forward and what your thoughts are, so that we don't put in a ton of work and then keep coming back, because we don't have a whole lot of time before summer. So I don't know. I really am coming at this humbly. I don't know if I'm right or wrong in how to do this. Please, I've listened to a lot of people. What you can expect from me is that I will listen. I may not agree, but you can expect that I will listen. I hopefully will respect you, honor you. That's what you can expect in this district, and what we will stake our claim. But am I perfect? Absolutely not. Not even close. So I don't know how to articulate my thoughts. I don't know how to move forward, other than to say, let's have this discussion. I've talked to a few board members since our last meeting. It seems like there are different thoughts about how we can move forward with different options. So
Who wants to go first? Me? Okay. I've been talking with Jason. I've been talking with other people. I'm glad COW's gone. I'll say that out loud. I'm glad it's gone. It gives us opportunity for new things. We have found a new program. We can present it at the next meeting. It's called Accelerated.
That's not your job. That's not your job.
Folks, he listened to every one of you without saying a word, please.
I believe this program is much better than COW. And I think it's important that we review it. We can have Jason and the ELA team review it and get back to us. But I think it's a much better program than what we've had. And if we adopt it, we will remain the premier school in this area, and with a premier reading program.
We're still in policy.
That is a policy.
That's not policy. We'll be submitting the grievance with signatures at the end of the meeting.
Why are you glad it's gone?
I think it's inadequate. I think it's an inadequate program.
How? How?
I'll go next. Hey, or do you want to go? Go ahead. You go.
Just as a reminder, this isn't how board meetings work. So you get to say your piece. We listen to you, then we get to discuss. There's no back and forth. That's kind of sad.
You're stating your opinion. You're not giving anything to, you abruptly remove a summer reading program when these kids are out of school in 30, 40 days without anything.
Oh, so
Thank you.
Do you want to go?
I'm an educator, teacher here. I encourage you to file a grievance against this board.
Thank you.
Okay, file a grievance. I have agreed on your side as a community member in the district. Teachers, you can file your own grievance through your union. Continue.
Well, thank you. That's pretty rude, okay? We listen to you.
Don't stop.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna go, and hopefully I'll get extended the courtesy that that I extended to
Don't
others.
engage with me.
So, I agree with 95 to 98% of what you all said,
John, do not address that.
of what everybody here said.
What this is about.
Sandy Jacobs is one of my favorite teachers. I agree with her on almost everything. She's my son's favorite teacher. She's on the board of the high school. I believe what she says, okay? What I'm trying to do is, first of all, to have a conversation, like Jason said, this is not the forum for it. It sucks. It's a board meeting. We tasked Jason with getting together with the community, and we had 4 community outreach meetings. And of the 4 meetings, 2 community members showed up. We're gonna continue to do it. And that's where we can have our discussions, because at a board meeting, we do board business. We listen to the public, we may have a discussion, and then we do our board stuff. I went to 3 of the 4. I went to the ones we had last year, okay? I know every board member here, and we want to talk with our community. But we won't be bullied just because someone comes in here and says, you're doing a disservice without saying what the disservice is. So I'm gonna continue. Someone read a letter from someone. Last time we were here, I have a neighbor who spoke. I've known her for 4 years. We've been to each other's houses, birthday parties, graduation parties, Christmas parties. She's come stand by my pool. We've had drinks together, danced together. And she showed up at the last meeting without ever calling me, saying, this sucks, you suck. And later the next night, her husband, our whole block was having a March Madness party, said, oh, by the way, you're not invited. So that's how, if that's how discussions are gonna happen, we're all gonna close our ears to each other. So I don't think we should do that as a board, even if activists want us to do that. So I want to first start out by saying, and I've read some articles and I've heard some people talk. Most of the teachers know me. I shouldn't say most of them, a lot of them know me. When I grew up in Antioch, went to Oggs, and went to Antioch High School. And when I went to high school, most of Lindenhurst, Lakeville, and Antioch all went to the same high school. I knew a ton of Milburn people. Milburn had a great reputation then, and I promise you, all you board members, our reading program isn't the only thing that makes us great, okay? So the reading program is one thing we're going to talk about. So for anybody to say, oh my God, the Milburn community is a disaster now, we don't have Caudle, it's just not accurate. But anyway, so let's give anybody who says or writes a headline, we're trying to ban books. That's just, I'm not going to call anybody willfully ignorant, but you're doing the action of something that's willfully ignorant. We're not banning the books. If you listen carefully to the motion, the books are in the library. They're not banned. I didn't say all Caudle books are bad. Most of them are good. There's a few that I don't like, but I'm not voting to end a program based on one book. I'm not voting against a book, okay? I don't want to ban books. So anybody who stands up and says the board is trying to ban books is flat out wrong. Secondly, I don't want to get rid of our reading awards programs. So if you stand up and say they're getting rid of the reading awards programs, that's not right. And thirdly, anybody who says the board is trying to insert their political agenda. That is absolutely false. And what I would say to anybody who says that, look in the, I'm trying to take politics out of our reading program. Having said that, here's the Milburn reading program that gets sent out to incoming sixth graders. The summer break offers great opportunity for students to help improve reading and writing skills. Now, this goes out to all our incoming sixth graders. Research shows that students who read for pleasure in summer do better and forget less when they return to school in the fall. The benefits are not just in English and language arts class. Students who don't read over the summer can slide backwards in all subject areas. This is more important than ever. Each year, the ELA teachers at MMS ask all students to read at least one book over the summer. Sixth grade students may choose any book that is their reading level and is of most interest to them. You can listen to the audiobook version as long as you also follow along with your eyes and hard copy. Students are encouraged to keep a journal or annotate as they read. There will be an assignment on the reading when school resumes in the fall. We don't stop reading once the summer is over. All middle school students are required to read at least 3 books by February. Also, the Media Center has several reading contests throughout the year. There are different raffles for students that have read 5 books, 8 books, and 15 or more books. Each raffle has different due dates. Feel free to get a jump start on these contests by reading more this summer. That reading program, that letter goes out to every, I hate this form, and I think we should have more. That letter goes out to every incoming sixth grader. I missed it, like a lot do probably.
No.
And I love this reading program. I want to keep this reading program. I would vote to keep this reading program. Here's the thing, well, I can see this is the point where I'm going to say everybody probably loves this reading program. It's a great letter, and it is. Here's the thing. If I read the actual letter, there's 5 or 6 different words in the letter. So instead of saying each year the ELA teachers at MMS ask all students to read 1 book over the summer, they say 1 book from the Carl list over the summer. Instead of saying you get different raffles for students who have read 5 books, we say if you've read 5 Carl books. What about kids who don't want to read the Carl book? My point is, and this is the point I've been making the whole time, I agree with everything that's said about reading and the importance of reading. But people are saying we're trying to ban books. And actually, all I'm saying is why limit our children over the summer and throughout the year to a 20-book list and leave the rest of the library alone? That doesn't make any sense. Not to mention, think about this. Okay, and someone came up and said, oh, this is all about the stamp book. First of all, the Carl list came up long before I was on a board member, came up last year. There were some issues with books, okay? So this isn't about 1 book. And let's just say for a moment, I thought a book on the Carl list was the best book ever written. Let's say I thought Stamped was the best book ever written. And it's on the 2022 Carl list. Best book ever written. My daughter goes into 6th grade next year. She's going to read from the 2024, 25, and 26 Carl list. She's not going to be directed towards Stamped. You know why? Because she's directed towards the new list this year. And the rest of the library, which the best book in history was written in 2022, isn't promoted. So to say, look, he hates Carl books or she hates Carl books, That's not true. I have a personal opinion. We all have personal opinions. I think we should take it out. It doesn't make, why would you promote the reading program, identical reading programs? One says you must read Carl. The other says, just read a book. And we're gonna celebrate you. And we're gonna have awards. And we're gonna have raffles. Not because we read a Carl book. We're gonna do it because you read 5 books. You read 10 books. You read 20 books. So anybody listening, when I first moved there, like I said, I grew up in Antioch. And when I first moved to Milburn, my days were flexible. I started volunteering, chaperoning, volunteering in classes. And the epic fundraisers, I was there all the time. And COVID was going on and we needed a volunteer in the cafeteria. We were actually looking to pay people to come in because we couldn't get people to do stuff. I went and worked in the cafeteria all year for no pay. Then we said, oh, you know what? We need substitute teachers. I went and got my substitute teaching license and subbed for a bit. And then the board position came over. Okay, I'm not trying to do anything nefarious. I think most of the teachers that know me, I went to Timberlake, had to pay for it as a chaperone, loved it. I love our teachers. I love Milburn. I'm not trying to ban anything. I think the Carl list directs people to 20 books instead of directing them to our entire library. That's all. I agree with everything everybody else said. All of it. I love Milburn. I volunteer at Milburn. I'll continue to volunteer at Milburn. Fred and I think we're kind of on opposite sides of the political spectrum, but we work well together on a lot of things. We're both on the negotiation team. We can work together. When he says something, I don't attack him for his politics. I don't think that's helpful. I don't say, Fred, you can't come to my house because you voted to keep the Carl list. I guess you can't come over. I mean, that's just silly. At one of our last meetings, I looked over at Ben and said, I have confidence in you, Ben. And someone yelled out from the audience, that's because he's a man. Does this kind of stuff really belong in our dialogue if we're going to solve a problem? That's crazy. That's just crazy talk. So that's where I stand. I'm willing. We want to do parent forums all the time. And you know what? Here's another thing. Sign up for something. Get involved. Put your time in. And so here I am again, because I really want to have dialogue, and I think everybody knows that.
Wow.
But we can't. So,
Thank you, John. I kind of want to get back to the main point of the topic, which is the summer reading program, and really give something for Jason to go back to the middle school team tomorrow. So I've been thinking a lot, and I appreciate everyone's comments and thoughts about the CODL list. So me being in education myself, I want to come up with a compromise that I would like the board to think heavily on before our next meeting. The compromise is this. The compromise is to ensure that we are being, as some of the board members said, neutral, but also making sure that we're hearing our community members. So I'm trying to make sure that both hats are going to be good. My compromise is, one, to bring back the CODL list, while at the same time having a committee of teachers that creates a 20 book list. So it could be the Milburn librarians as well as some of the middle school teachers. They come up with a 20 book list that they believe is aligned with their state standards, aligned maybe with some things that they're going to see in those English classes. This then gives students more choices. So if they do not want the CODL list, they can then have books that their teachers recommend that are also going to help them align with their state standards and testings, which will then further their growth for post-secondary education. I understand that some people on the board do not think that the CODL list is neutral, that they don't like the limit of choice. But I also think we need to remember that the list of books should also be kind of geared by educators, that, you know, there's books that are chosen because of a theme, a content area, a word choice, maybe even like a really big research project, right? So I think if we came up with these two, well, if the committee came up with a list, because they are the experts in the field, none of us on the board are, I feel like that would be a good compromise to bring back the CODL list, have another list for the reading program as well. This also allows parents
opportunity to be like, hey, John, can you pick one of the books from these lists? Because I don't have time because I work a 60-hour job. Or, hey, I have to go take my son to practice. I don't have time to look through all these books and read through, but I'm going to trust the teachers at Milburn from this one list or the CODL list that was also chosen by educators. So if this is something that you guys would like to think about and play with, I would be willing to work with the Milburn librarians and a couple of teachers if they want to volunteer, and with Dr. Lynn to come up with a list so that we can present it to the board and have a candid conversation if we can have the CODL list simultaneously with this list that was created by Milburn teachers and experts. So now, again, not limiting, expanding, but also making sure that it's aligned with our state curriculum, our state standards, and meeting just a lot of the things that the English teachers and other content areas are going to see. So I would like, if that's something that we would like to go with, I'd be more than happy to meet with the librarians of the Milburn School and Dr. Lynn and some teachers.
The thing is, what we're losing from not being part of the CODL program is the students are participating in a statewide vote for the book, the best book. So we're not participating. Now, there's a lot of research that says, I think one of our speakers spoke about it. There's 20,000 books in this library. There's a lot of research that says paring down the choice actually helps people because it gives you less things to dither about, and you can choose between a smaller number of things, and you have a better choice. And the list is curated by experts for that specific reason, to get high quality books that are age appropriate and of a wide variety. But it's not just the list, because you can get a list. We've got the AR list. Jason sent out another list that somebody wrote. You can find hundreds of lists of good books for students to read. It's also the participation in the statewide program that students in 4th through 8th grades are participating in. You know, we do it for a lot of things. Like, you know, our state rock is Florida. Is fluoride. Our state rock is fluoride, and that was chosen by 4th graders. We have a state bird, we have a state flower, we have a state insect. All these things, they're chosen by students as a way of getting them involved in not only a civic function, but getting them to realize that they're part of something beyond just their neighborhood. And that's part of what the CODL program is about. It's getting the students around the state to go, hey, here's one list of books that are recent, that have been vetted, and let's vote on those, and you guys tell us what is the best book for a 4th through 8th grader. So I think finding another program, having the teachers create a list is missing the whole point of why the program was brought in the first place.
And I agree, Brendan. I'm wanting to find a compromise for this board so that we can do what's best for the community. So I mean, I love what the CODL list does, and I think maybe we can like take some things from the list the teachers create. I'm just trying to find a compromise for this board where we can bring back the CODL list that is very prominent for the community, because that's what we're here. We're here to serve the community and the students. But then also, you know, ensure that it seems the smaller population of our community also is heard, and that could be through a neutral list that is by the teachers. But that's also putting a lot more on the teachers, which I'm not happy about as a teacher. But I'd also be willing, as the board, and we can work with them to kind of make a compromise to bring back the CODL list while also having this other list.
So what do you see as, and I could have said the same thing probably. Everybody would have booed, but I'm glad that you said it. It comes from you, and you have way more credibility than I do when it comes to school. I still haven't heard the answer to the question of, and this has been my question from the start. Why this list?
I just gave you.
But we just, but I think the committee members, like, you provide that.
So why this list? If all the books are in the library and you're free to read them. And I think if you read 3 books, you can still vote at the libraries. I'll have to look into that. So if what you're saying is, well, they won't be able to vote because in my opinion, they read the books because they get raffles and pizza parties and all that other stuff. I'm still trying to understand, and I want to understand. I understand people have visceral reactions to certain things. Especially if politics get interjected. My mother hates Donald Trump, and she can't even play the game. She can't even play the game Trump or spades because there's Trump in it. And I see in my own family visceral reactions to politics. I just use Trump as an example because he really brings out visceral reactions. So having said that, I don't understand, and I try to because I try to put myself in other shoes. If the books are in the library and you still can participate in the raffle for reading 5 of them, you can still participate in the pizza party if you're reading all 20 of them, and you can still vote for the best book. Why do we need a list and tell kids you need to read from this list? That's what I'm trying to understand.
You don't have lists to students and you give them a choice of 20,000.
It filters
They
what
will not be.
happens.
Okay, so
That big function that filters.
right, so what I'm getting at is, if the parents want them to read from the Caudle list, they certainly can direct them to that, right? The Caudle list is published. So I guess what I'm trying to say is when someone says, you're ripping the Caudle list right out of Milburn. My response to that is, how? We're not. You still can read the books, you still can take part in the raffles, and you still can get your pizza party. So I still haven't heard the answer. If everything that has to do with the Caudle program is still in our summer reading program, why do we feel the need to direct students to these particular 20 books? Why not let their parents do it?
I mean, we've heard from the community, so I'm not gonna continue to restate what they said, but it's just, I mean, I've seen 5th graders try to put out a book and it's very overwhelming. We'll just pick something. This book, I think, is a collection of various subject matters, of themes, of reading levels, right? Like you might have a student that struggles, but then there might be a book on the Caudle list where, you know, it may be from 4th grade, but that 6th grader can read at a 4th grade level and they're like, wow, I actually did it by myself. Like I'm gonna, like one of my peers, I can read this book.
Well, see, I agree with you 100% there because
It's just making, I think, John, I think you're looking for something bigger than this. It's just a simple list to give students more autonomy in their choice, right? Like we tell kids to do so much every single day and every minute of their day, right? This allows them their opportunity to decide on by themselves, gives them more confidence in themselves. You know, they get to, you know, have fun and, you know, the diplomacy process, right, of voting and, you know, having fun discussions and having a debate with their friend about like, I didn't like that book. How did you like that book? And like, just discourse, right? I think it simplifies. I think that's why the community members, there's a plethora of reasons, but for you, John, it's a simple, it's a funnel, it's clear, and it helps the teachers. And it's, I just, the community member said so much about it. I don't want to continue.
No, it's good. Unfortunately, we're the only ones who can discuss this.
Right, but it's a simple list allowing students not to be overwhelmed and to also direct them on to subject matter that they're probably going to find in school as they get older. There's, and like by experts, I mean, it all links together, education.
But I don't have a problem with, because I love our teachers and I trust our teachers, especially our ELA teachers, when it comes to our students. So I think if a teacher saw, and yeah, she probably wouldn't mind me saying, you know, I did have a discussion with Sandy right after our last meeting and talked about some of this stuff, or Ms. Jacobs, I should say. I think students, I think first of all, they go where you lead them. But getting to the point about the teachers, if the teachers understand their students, and they do, and they know about the students, they do, in my opinion, do lead them to certain books on an individual basis. I still don't see why as a catch-all, as a broad stroke, why, but again, I'm always willing, I'm open and to discussing with our ELA staff what we should do. Matter of fact, I'm very disappointed because I have a number of people who disagree with me, who are friends and teachers. Have my number. I know them very well. And honestly, other than the conversation I had with Sandy and Miss Lawrence, none of them called me. They just decided to be upset about it.
I
So-
would be willing to support you in your endeavor if you would include looking at the adding of somehow finding a way to adding the AR program.
The AR program.
The AR program that is.
Can you explain that?
So
Sorry.
I don't know if that is.
it's the accelerated reader program.
So, on the topic of choice,
Mhm.
because one of the, so we'll leave right wing, left wing bias, we'll leave that aside, one of the things brought up was choice.
Mhm.
In my business ethics class, had to read a book about a guy who bought jeans for the first time in the sixties, and when he bought jeans back then, you had two options. And then it's 2005, he goes to try and buy a pair of jeans, and now there's 20 options. He doesn't know anything beyond these two options, so he spends 3 hours in the Gap trying on all the different cuts to see what is the difference between them. And he ends up going back to the same cut he's been wearing from the sixties. So they might have all this choice here, but they're gonna spend so much time trying to find one of the book out of those, so we'll call it 2,000, because if we go by grade levels, about 2010, they're gonna spend so much time just trying to choose and trying to make that decision that they'll waste time that they could have been doing with other things. It's one of the reasons why I love shopping at Costco and Aldi, because you don't have to wander 100 aisles like you do in Jewel or Mariano's, you can get in, get out, and stuff. One thing you said is that you hate this forum of, this is board meeting, we're trying to conduct board business. One of the things that Bob Redding, I don't know if you read his post on Nextdoor, he's a former board member. I've talked with him about it. He said, oh, have a town hall meeting on it. And that would have been a great option. Again, we have had, and I brought up to him, we've had tried to have on other issues before, not a lot of people showed up. But I think one of the reasons why so many people are angry about this is because there wasn't even an option for a town hall meeting before it. If they at least had the option, then they could have felt more heard then, instead of it just going straight to a board meeting without having the town hall first. So I think that that's one of the possible reasons some people are so upset. And then, so going into a compromise, if we're worried about a certain group who's choosing this year's list, I don't know if he wants me to say his name, but what was suggested to me was that we take the last 5 years of lists. So that way you take the last 5 years of lists, you give the people the choice of that, and then you'll have 3 different sets of judges essentially over those 5 years coming and choosing. And that gives us now 240 different people. If the math might be off on how the judges work for that, but essentially then you're gonna have a much wider group of people choosing. You have, instead of 20 books, because then when you get, there might be 20 books on just the middle school, but break it up by grade level, you have 5 choices, whatever. So now that 5 years of list creates 100 books and true 20 book grade level. So I think that could be a good compromise.
But we're all still missing the point. And one of the reason why it's the Caudle list is because it's a statewide vote by students. They get to choose the best book. It's not about choosing what book they want to read. It's about, it's the added ability of having the students participate and be heard and actually make a decision, because children, we don't listen to them too often, right? They get told what to do, when to go to bed, when to get up, when to brush their teeth, what they can eat. Maybe you have to eat your vegetables and all this other stuff. This is the choice where they can start going, I think this book is better than that book, and I'm gonna vote for this one. And all I gotta do is read 3 from the list. So when we take the Caudle list away, we're taking away that. It's not about the list. Our librarians, our teachers can get 20 books in a heartbeat if they really wanted to. It's about our kids are participating in a statewide vote where their voice is heard.
Hey, Brendan, can I clarify something that I'm hearing, because I'm not sure the communicating? You're saying they would still be doing that, so they still have that choice.
Yes, but again,
So
if
you
they're
say
going
you
for
have
the first 4 years, they might not get the vote still.
You, in order to vote, so this is how it works currently, in order to vote, they have to read 3 off that list. Now, not all of our students do that, except probably in 6th grade where it's an assignment, but maybe even some of them don't, I don't know. But they would still have that opportunity to participate in the statewide vote as a choice, so they'd still be directed to that list. If you want to vote this year, you have to read these particular books. Is that what you were saying? And Jill, I think, has the
Yeah.
same
so
idea.
if
I just
you
want to
were able
clarify what you're
compromise,
saying.
everything that's part of the call list, I would still want to adhere to. But then, like what John said, if we can come up with a committee of some teachers and we incorporate the AR program, and as the board, you feel like the 2 lists kind of have every population heard and valued and seen, then we're reinstating the total list while also having the same list as well. So the compromise for everyone in this community.
Were you hearing that, Brendan? Okay. I just wanted to clarify if that's what you
Yeah,
meant.
no, I would
don't know if
want
I was
to,
missing.
yeah.
I'm all for bringing people together. I don't see an issue with that. So.
Right, that's why
mean,
I wanted to compromise, and if I was able to meet with some teachers and some librarians, we came up with a list, and the board thought that both the lists worked well. Then Jason has a next position for the ELA teachers as well as the students of Milburn community.
Can I interrupt? I know I'm totally out of order, but we are talking about the model list over and over again. We're talking about 20 books. This is the Reader's Choice and the model, so I just want clarification. Because Monarch and Blue Stem are also part of this, so when we're talking about adding another 20 books or adding another 5 years worth of books, which is 60 books, that equates to 300 books. So are we just talking about Caudle? Are we reinstating Blue Stem and Monarch, which have the same parameters Caudle does? Or are we talking about this for all Blue Stem and Caudle?
I say we are using Caudle as shorthand for the Reader's Choice program.
So when we're talking about adding 220 more books, 40 more books, 60 more books, we need to triple that because the Monarch has 20 books each year and the Blue Stem has 20 books each year. And I completely apologize, but I just really, because people are reporting things, I want them to have the facts. And I want to know that we're not just talking about the 20. And we're talking about students. We're talking about 5-year-olds who are banning a program from. Right.
I think when we, and I know we're out of line here, but I think when we start saying we're banning a program, that's when I don't get it. We're not banning the books. So I think someone can pick that up and run with it, which I've seen already, saying they're trying to ban books. It specifically says the books can stay in the library. You can read them. You can use them as your assignments. You can do everything that the program does with them. And again, I also want to reiterate, I'm one voice here, but I do want to come to a compromise where we can all be on board and say, this is great. I hope we get there. And I think in the end we will.
I would say I would not be surprised if we add the AR program to Jill's list, that it would have all of the books for the past.
You'll probably find crossover.
Yeah, you would. You'll find a lot of crossover.
So I haven't looked into that. I'm going to be honest.
I looked into, it's amazing. The AR program is absolutely amazing.
There's a lot of choice on it. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's really.
And on
But it's not a list. It's.
But if we bring it back with Caudle,
I think for the reading program, it's becoming bigger than it needs to be, like. Because I mean, I'm trying to come to a compromise that we bring the cuddle list back, so. Is there something from this board that we could come up with where we bring that back? Like,
Yes.
I came up with the list just because I was trying to find a compromise. I think we need to listen to the community wants the cuddle list. But I don't want to put more pressure on our students or more pressure on our teachers, librarians.
My biggest heartburn with it was, and this is, I had it in discussions with a couple of the ELA folks that spoke here, was that it was just mandatory. Certainly if we had multiple lists or bound, when it says there's no such thing as a neutral list, maybe there isn't, but you can have let's insert the word balance, make it. As an opt-in, now you know what your kid's getting into. So I'm certainly willing to, and help lead the charge, Julie, to find some sort of compromise here, because I agree with you. I know everybody who's speaking tonight is speaking, bring back the cuddle list, even though I don't think it ever went away. And there were some that were gonna speak tonight that just are like, what's the use? So I know that it's not, we have a petition with 1,000 names on it. I don't know how many have kids in we're not 20. I just don't know. But in the spirit of what you're saying, I absolutely think that we could find something, and I think we should find something. And even if that means, we have the cuddle list as is with another. It's something I think we should talk about. Again, here I am, because I like to debate.
I would be willing to bring back cuddle if we can get the AR. I think looking at that AR program, it's absolutely phenomenal.
Where is it from?
It's
Accelerated reader.
Well, yeah, but like, we know the Reader's Choice Program comes from people
Renaissance.
from Illinois.
Renaissance Learning.
It's a national,
But that's a paid service, right?
I don't know how much. It costs.
$10,000. But we don't have $2,000 to give people minimum wage.
Then there's always, well, we give them more money. People over the summer.
I think that's,
So, I mean, there's always that.
that's a good place to go.
It's, I mean, I
Would that
honestly,
be-
I don't
would
think
that
we're gonna
be-
solve it tonight.
Would
But
that
we need to
be,
kind of direct.
I would like to learn more about the AR program.
okay,
That's gonna cost us.
I mean,
It doesn't cost anything to look into it.
I have no idea.
I'm definitely for finding a compromise, and if that compromise includes bringing the official name of who participating in cuddle, I wouldn't take that off the table. And again, it's just for my book. So I'd be willing to look
But
at
there
it.
was a committee that was formed that could create a balanced list. The board would be able to bring back the cuddle list at the same time.
I know I would be amenable to that, because I have way more faith in our teachers than I do in the cuddle judges. I just do. So, yeah, and one of the reasons I say that is if you're reading from, because remember, this program goes from the ages of 4 to 18. They're doing this in high school, okay? So if you read from a list of evaluators from the time you're 4, and you stay in the same program with the same similar evaluators from the ages of 4 to 18, of course you're going to come out liking that, because that's really all you know, if that's what you've been directed towards. Now, Sandy said, Ms. Jacobs said something very interesting. If 70% of the books checked out are non-cuddle, well, that opens my eyes a little bit. Yeah, like I said, if we want to do something like that, I'm all for it.
all right, so we'll talk to that.
Well, I think we're gonna end up talking it to death some more.
We can't vote tonight, so,
Okay.
Does that give you?
What's the plan
I would
then
say
for-
go with your plan.
Research AR program.
It's really hard for
Research
them.
and program, come up with
Look in the AR.
It's hard for even three of us to get together.
Yeah, I think that's what, the problem for me right now is this isn't a great forum to discuss it, which I agree with you in. I would like to talk to some ELA teachers. I would like to, talk to some people and figure out a compromise. I'm not against it, but this, I mean, we're not gonna figure it out right here in this moment. And I think we need more discussion with some more key people, and how do we do that, I guess is where I'm at. That's where I'm at. And that I'm
So,
talking over here. So how do we do that?
And we agree we need a program for the summer. Yeah.
Everyone agrees with that. I don't think anyone disagrees with that. Nobody disagrees with that.
I think I read a pretty good program for the summer.
That's not.
Speaking out of turn.
Are we ready to move on?
Yeah, let's move
Well,
on.
we can move.
Yeah.
And what I can promise you is this was brought to somebody in a leadership position months and months ago. So there's frustration to be had with people all across the board. So you guys can kind of digest that.
And there are people in the community that do agree with getting rid of the CODL list, but they don't come here to speak because they get attacked.
They,
So you have
they
to
don't
keep
get
that.
attacked. They never show up.
You get
All right,
attacked.
all right, hey. All right, moving on.
So where I'm at is I would like to figure out how we can discuss this with some more key players and come to a great solution. I don't think anyone's gonna be happy with the two dueling list that provides too many books. You know what I'm saying? So we need to sit down with key people. That's where I'm at. And I would like to talk to those people, and I would be happy to be a part of it. But I don't know how that can be done since we're board members and
You
board
and-
meeting, so.
You
We
and
would have to
Jillian
figure
can
that
form a mini committee and look into it together.
And I would love for you to pass my name along to some of the people who expressed to you from the community they're not interested, because of the 50+ emails I've received, none of them have said, I hate the Reader's Choice program. Not a single one. But if supposedly there's dozens, if they don't want to come in public, that's fine. They can email me privately. That's.
Right, but
Have
I'm
to
just
pass
telling
information.
you, then I'll ask them if I can. I'm not gonna just pass on people's information.
Yeah, that I said,
I-
pass my information to them.
Oh,
So
okay.
they can contact you.
So, yeah, but I'm just saying it's not 100%.
Okay.
I mean, that's not what we're
Yes.
dealing
So
with.
moving forward,
But-
would you be willing to work with Jillian to come up with the next step?
Yeah.
Because we need to
That
have,
would be fine.
we need to move.
But I think we
need
would
to
need
move
to
tomorrow.
involve the ELA
Well,
teachers.
they
more
would.
people.
That would be-
More than happy to.
That would
Right.
be the next thing that they do. So Jillian and Lisa will form a mini committee. Get together and start talking with the ELA and Jason, and let's go from there, and hopefully we can have something by the meeting, by the next meeting. All right, reading emails for public comment. We need to move forward.
Yeah, so. I think it's important to. So keeping this as a totally separate issue.
Right.
Okay, we're in the digital age.
Right.
If somebody wants to get a job here, they can't just walk into the front door and fill out a paper application, right? They need to do that online. That is where we are as a community. It's not something unheard of to allow digital participation. The Illinois State Board of Education has protocols in place to allow for people to participate virtually. Be that over video or be that reading emails. I do understand concerns with having people from Zanzibar emailing in, I'm a Nigerian prince, I can help your school, sort of thing. Just because somebody's not a taxpayer in the district doesn't mean they're not allowed to address the board. They're still allowed to address the board. The way that the ISB, Illinois State Board of Education, has dealt with this, and their protocol in place currently, is that they set an overall time limit for it. So let's say we allow 3 minutes per email being read. Say we have 30 minutes to read emails at this meeting. And we'll accept them from the time the last meeting took place, the first 10 that come in, however many we can read in that time. If the first 10 that come in are all on the same subject matter, and then the 11th that comes in is on a different subject matter, we'll bump number 10 and move 11 into the spot so we can get the different subjects heard. Because we don't want to have 1,000 emails having to sit here for 3,000 minutes. I totally get that. But this still allows people who have children obligations, which is something that ISB allows us as board members to attend virtually for. If we have work obligations, which is something ISB allows us as board members to attend virtually for, somebody has health issues. That all gives people a chance to be heard for whatever it need be to feel like they are a welcome part of this community. And I think that it's important to make sure protocols that have been in place aren't just taken away under a broad umbrella of these are the current conditions for public participation when people have gotten used to digitally interacting. So with those conditions, using ISB as our guideline framework, have something like a total 30-minute time frame for email comments. And if it's multiple, if you get more than that on the same subject area, we cut the bottom off the move up ones that are on different subject areas. Anybody else have any other opinions on emails, comments?
When did we stop doing that? Last
July
year?
17,
Last
2023.
And we have,
Officially, but we've actually been
We have-
accepting them for the past.
Yeah,
9
I know we
months.
did it last time too.
So we never
We had-
The only,
changed any.
the only drawback I see to that might be if we're gonna limit it to 30 minutes and there's 300 minutes, who do we pick?
Well, that's
Is
the
it just
first
the
one.
luck of the draw? Is it the first
no, it's the
30?
first 10 that was
First
coming
come,
in.
first served.
Yeah.
I don't-
So from the date of our
Yeah, I
last
don't-
meeting,
I mean, because what if you weren't able to be one of the first 30? You know, for the same reason you're not able to come here, what if you're not able to be the first 30? I like that you can have your thing read. I had a couple people do that tonight. Pass it along to someone who's fans, you get. You found it. I don't know, I wasn't here for the rationales why we got rid of it, but
The rationale was we wanted more community involvement. So we wanted people to come
yeah, that makes sense.
into
agree.
in here to come and talk with us.
And that was never the standard. This was because of COVID, we implemented this. So there was never a thing before that. So it was like, oh, we need to get more people in, we need to hear from people because of isolation and quarantine and all. So that's when we implemented it.
but it is something that is still currently done by the state level Board of Education. And if we completely separate it from the Reader's Choice program going on right now, let all emotions settle from that. I think we want
Separate
people,
issue, yeah.
we want people to be engaged, and this is a way for the community to get engaged.
And there is in board policies, there is you can have, if there's a lot of people on one subject, have them pick a spokesperson. So if there's a bunch of emails, we could summarize the general points. But we could also publish them on the website, right? If they want them a part of the public forum, you can say, okay, we'll put them on the website, we'll toss them in a Google Doc or whatever, and leave it open for people to read. So people can, you know, and we don't necessarily have to take up as much board meeting time and still have them.
My concern is just the time. You know, I like Megan's idea.
What do you think, Jason?
Jason doesn't have an opinion.
Don't think Jason's done thinking. There's pros and cons to both. The same thing we talked about last summer when we decided to discontinue the practice. Everybody else that I've talked to in this area, all the other superintendents discontinued the practice long before. They did it as soon as COVID was ended. So we just decided, oh yeah, why are we doing this? We'd like people to come in and interact with us. Anyway, people can still email the board and express their opinions, but reading them back to the public, it's not really the purpose of that. But I understand that right now, the feeling and the emotion of it. So if you take all of that out of it, I'm as far as recommendation, it doesn't matter to me at all. If there's time constraint,
I like-
this is completely up to the board, it's your meeting, but as far as legally, you can do it either way, there's no obligation,
You could put it on the website, like in letters to the editor. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't know, see what you put
And
in.
then put a, like, timeline,
You would just
it's up
link it-
for
Link it
3
to
months
the-
and then they disappear. or whatever.
Well, you just link it to the public comments.
Oh, that's something good.
I like that. That makes it so much easier.
Then we can do a summary if there's a lot.
Someone
Wait, so
clearly
we're
would have
saying
to
just-
read.
Wait, so just so I'm clear. So we're saying just link it to public comments and then not read them?
Correct.
Not read all of them.
Not read them.
Not read them out loud.
Do
Yeah,
a
not
summary
read
of.
them.
Someone gotta read it.
They're available to the public.
Yeah,
right?
so we don't want to
Right.
read them.
Oh, I like
Yeah,
that
the
idea.
public.
Yeah, that's
That's
great.
fine. Yeah.
I like that idea.
We'll do that next time.
So then,
All right.
so what would the protocol be for that? Anytime you get something, let's say I got something personal.
Well, it would have to say this is for public
Right,
comment.
yeah.
For the
Yeah,
public.
okay.
Because
Yeah,
I got
put that
plenty
in
of
there.
emails that
I
didn't
got
say
you.
it's for public
I
comment.
got you, okay. Yeah.
Because people email the board with their comments, but they don't necessarily want them read out.
Right,
publicly. So
I think we even
just
had
give them
one
the
person that said that.
We'll have to specify that, I think. Make sure that they know we're put it in the header of their email or the subject that it's for public comment or not for.
And I do want to make sure that we also kind of summarize the arguments, if there's a lot, maybe if there's one on
Yeah.
something random, we could read it, but if there's a
I don't. think
topic
we've
that is
gotten-
contentious, we could summarize, say,
Yeah.
it was 25 letters here, 25 letters that kind of said this kind of thing, or.
I don't think we've gotten any
Yeah.
between.
Yeah.
When we
Maybe we should
instituted
just make
it
a
last
decision to
time.
read them or not read them, because this is getting to be.
I definitely don't find that.
Like,
I don't
Well,
want
it's
to read them
kind of
either.
to read them in
Well,
public. I mean, I read
I
them,
know.
but I don't want to.
Right.
like,
So we just post them.
we just post them, I think.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
we
read
can-
lots of emails over COVID.
We all do
Yeah.
that.
Right.
So, I mean,
We can't vote on it tonight. So
okay, so let's think about it.
let's think about it and
Alright.
we'll come
Yeah.
back. K-8 math curriculum recommendation.
Okay, so we are on to, somebody mentioned the curriculum process earlier. We are in the curriculum process. I will set this up.
Nobody cares about math.
Hang on, okay, I'm gonna pull it up, I'll be ready.
Yeah, you're good, you're good.
We should have locked the door and made him watch this.
It's really good. It's exciting.
Nice job, Leah.
Really? I promise.
Thanks for staying.
Should have put you guys first.
We should have had them first.
Yeah.
Live and learn.
You still got some people.
That's what I said, thank you for staying.
I think you're mostly teachers.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's a little tricky doing the, there we go. Okay. So, board. Tonight, we are culminating our activity that we've been spending since last June on, our math committee. We've been piloting a math program, looking for a new math program to help our students learn math a little bit better. So tonight is a culmination of that activity, and we're gonna have a recommendation for you here. So, Gary, take it away.
We're going to start off with some introductions, that way you know who is up here presenting. So Carrie Geddes, assistant principal of the elementary building. I also was the administrator, along with Jason, kind of leading the charge for math curriculum.
I'm Sandy Stolzer. I am K2 instructional coach. I'm Alyssa Lawrence. I'm an instructional coach for grades. I'm Courtney Ward, the instructional coach at the middle school.
Jackie Brown, seventh grade.
Emily David, third grade teacher.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works. There we go. All right. So this is a recap. It's my section, just kind of reviewing what was presented to you in the fall. We had two different committees, the steering committee and the district committee. Steering committee was kind of overseeing the whole process, and the district committee was a makeup of a variety of staff members from each building. Good Kathy here. There we go. Those were all the committee members spanning a variety of different positions between the two buildings, ranging from different grade levels to instructional coaches, as well as special education and interventionists. If you recall, what I presented in the fall was we really were focusing on three different shifts. The first one being focus, next coherence, and the third one being rigor. We provided professional development for all of the teachers on the committee, just to kind of review those three shifts of instruction for math. From there, we developed our core beliefs. I just want to review these in particular because this is really what we focused on a lot when we were making decisions. So we believe that coherence, focus, and rigor are equally important for math instruction. We believe our students and teachers can communicate their learning by using common math language in our K-8 curriculum. All students are capable of learning math at high levels, and we believe it is important to know the progression of standards across grade levels for proper alignment. We really wanted to emphasize on that K-8 curriculum because we wanted to build that coherence throughout the district on common vocabulary and common processes. And we wanted to be able to give that flexibility of movement within the programs to support any students that might be shifting from one level maybe to another. In August, I reviewed this before as well, we utilized that Ed reports as a launching point to narrow down all the programs available because there was 128 different math programs. Because we had that K focus, it narrowed it down to 79. And then 29 of those programs met the expectations and alignment for that college and career readiness standards based off of those Ed reports. From there, we narrowed it down to 10 programs. And then the committee really then focused after investigating further to 5. At that point, we had the publishers come in to present to the committee, and then we evaluated those 5 programs. From there, then, there we go. We made that decision to pilot iReady into math, which is what we have been doing since the presentation to the board. I hand it on over now to Courtney. There you go.
All right, well, these are the steps that we took. We received professional development for piloting the programs. Within that professional development at MES, we had 2 teachers at every grade level that received professional development from both the publishers, the kind of pilot managers, and then from coaches at each building. At the middle school, we had multiple sections in every grade level, so we had a variety of students who were able to go through the process. We piloted both programs across all grade levels. We evaluated the programs while utilizing a rubric together. We met as a committee to discuss the findings from the pilot, and then we made a decision on which program we would recommend present to you.
All right, so when we came together, so those 2 teachers that were at every grade level in the elementary building, and then the middle school teachers as well, they had conversations about those rubrics. And so they looked at what was good math instruction. And so we sent out a Google form, thank you. at Google form, and they were able then to decide, did the program meet or not meet each specific area? And so as you can see here, when we talked about key concepts and fluency, math, reasoning, meeting a variety of learners, the orange is the iReady, and then blue is the Into Math. And you can see with percentages that, of course, they're both good programs, but Into Math, which was the blue area, was more, teachers felt more comfortable with it as they looked at Milburn students. So we also looked at the ease of the teacher going through the materials, being able to find what they needed to teach and present that to the students. And then we also got student feedback as well. So how they felt about when they were using the different programs. And of course, we said paid curriculum was key. And then that coherence also we already talked about, which was a huge important part for all of us as a committee. And that differentiation and then those other resources, because, you know, there's always something more that we need. And again, you'll see that the orange is iReady and the blue is Into Math. And in that Into Math area, we found ourselves, you know, we can see the percentages as far as looking at what teachers felt that actually taught the program. Program. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So start from iReady, just a teacher of strengths and challenges from the teacher perspective. There was a diagnostic assessment that connected to an online program that led students on an individual pathway of learning. It also promoted a lot of conversations up K through 8 that encouraged higher level thinking of math concepts. There was an overabundance of digital resources for students and teachers. So then on the flip side of that, one of the challenges was digging through those digital resources to see what was most beneficial and what students needed. It was just a lot to look at. Okay, I got it. There were the
Surprise.
and workbooks and centers were just not engaging for students. There was not enough repeated practice to ensure that students understood the concept that was taught. So while there was a lot of great discussion, not a lot of practice to go with that. The assessment questions didn't always match what was taught during the lesson, which was frustrating to both students and teachers. And then we also had some conversations with students about how they felt about iReady. So when interviewing students, they stressed that during lessons, they felt lost by the time it came to show what they knew. They expressed that while they felt like they were following along with their teacher during the lesson, they were only given a few questions to really show what they know and weren't able to master the skills quickly and felt frustration. They did enjoy using the digital piece because it was something new and different. They felt unsuccessful and frustrated with the way the program was laid out. And students also expressed that the assessments were tough and did not give them a chance to truly show what they. Oh, yeah, okay.
Hang on.
I don't,
Sorry.
hold on.
We're back.
One more. There we go. Okay, so Into Math was our second pilot that we did. Some strengths that the teachers saw was that the digital program connects to our NWA math scores that we already do. And it can pull into a personalized path for the students using our online portal. There was plenty of resources the teachers can pull from and a lot of differentiation resources available with this program. It was easy to navigate for teachers and students, and there was a nice balance between the print and the digital resources available to us. There was a good balance of rigorous instruction and a good balance of practice for students to really dig into those concepts. There were higher level customer support provided to us during this time that when the instructional coaches reached out with a problem, they were right on it, which felt good for us to know that we had that support on that. Some challenges that we saw was the student workspace was a little limited, kind of small and crunched, so it's a little difficult for some of our learners. Some lessons kind of took the leap at the end that required a little bit of additional background. Maybe because we kind of were teaching out of order and maybe it would be there if we had taught it from the beginning, but we did notice that. And there was not as much math dialogue between the students as the other program that we had just completed.
Some of the students' responses when we spoke to them is they enjoyed the digital piece. They felt engaged, they felt that the tutorials and the activities and stuff helped them gain that confidence. The students felt more confident with the structure of this program. It was very, they knew what to expect each day going into it. They felt more successful completing the assignments, the assessments. The parents appreciated the ease of the program and the student work as well. Students expressed that this was kind of less confusing for them. They felt like there was a lot more practice for them to kind of show they knew and, you know, follow along with what the teacher was doing. And they kind of felt like they understood it a little bit better. And their spirits were higher. And that was kind of. Right.
Well, as he's after the pilot finished, we did our units in both of the programs. We came together as a math committee to have dialogue, to discuss, the things that we were noticing and to make a decision. Here at Milburn, when we make decisions, we use consensus. We can click again. So consensus is, this process where it includes all persons making a decision instead of just simply voting and having the majority of the group getting their way. The group is committed to finding resolutions that everyone can live with. This ensures that everyone's opinions, ideas, and reservations are taken into account. So we upfront knew that we were going to come to a consensus. It's not just like, you know, majority. So next slide. So then what happened? Here's the data. So when the teachers did take a vote, the numbers did tell us clearly what the preference was, but we didn't just end there. So we did have a dialogue for the teachers that were considering iReady over into math. We heard them and heard their concerns, and we had a dialogue about how we could address those concerns with the into math program. So that is our recommendation. The committee is coming to you with a recommendation of purchasing into math.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I really appreciate the hard, there's one more slide to go over the money, but that's on me. But I really appreciate the work that the committee did, and not just the committee, but beyond the committee of the teachers who piloted. So they've taught 3 different math curricula this year. They taught My Math or some form thereof this year, and they taught Into Math, and they taught iReady, and they learned how to do them quickly and very efficiently. It was absolutely amazing the work that they did, and I really appreciate it. So thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And maybe I missed it. I'm a humble brag. I was on the math team in high school. But I've noticed that sometimes when my kids bring home their math, even the guy who was on the math team in high school is going, "What is this?" So with this new program that you got, these things that you're doing, and maybe I missed it, what kind of feedback are you getting from the parents? Is that how are they able to help their children?
The into math one, it said parents appreciate the ease of the program and the student work. I do know that I had some students that were absent and gone for a period of time. And the into math had a lot of videos that I could just assign to the kids with practice problems and lessons for them to go through, which helped them kind of before they came back and worked with me, so that they could kind of feel like they weren't so lost in it. So they
You're talking about parents now?
Yeah, so they did appreciate that I had videos and things that I could send them while they were gone, which was nice, so that I didn't have to start from scratch when they came back, and that I could work with those students who were absent. And some kids just asked, like, can we have those to help us restudy and memorize, you know, so that was nice that they had those digital resources.
And then I actually have a kindergartner who went through the pilot at this school as well, and the into math just, I mean, it was kindergarten, but coming home with the worksheets, like, she felt very confident in what she was doing, so directly aligned to the lesson in class, which I thought was really helpful as a parent. Having she was the teacher that way, we can teach it.
It does have a homework book that they can do, and I do know that some of the younger teachers took advantage of that and sent some papers home, and so they were able to see that as well. So
something I appreciated, I had 3 students in the district, and they send 8th grade, that's where I was supporting most, and some of those concepts were taught. But into that has great like family letters, so you know exactly how the concepts will be taught at the very beginning and how long it's going to be. So as a parent, like 3 different sections going on, that was really nice.
Did you hear that from a lot of parents? Like, this isn't how we did math back then.
Right, and then, that is different, I mean, I'm older than all of you, and so, the way you did things back when we were going through school is a little different, and so you're gonna still see probably some of that, just because it is a different approach, but it does give you, I think, a little bit more support to give you more understanding of how they're showing it now versus the way they used to do it.
Yeah, they're thinking about math, right?
And the program was nice too, if kids were struggling, they kind of had like an "Are you ready?" And they would relate it back to concepts from the grade before that you could pull in and bring in and do again with the students to kind of show them. So hopefully some of those strategies aren't foreign to them because they have those kind of already aligned in the book for you to say, hey, remember what a tape diagram is? We can show you because we did this last year. And this is what it looked like, which is kind of what we were aiming for with the K-8 curriculum all the way across, that it would have that fluency for parents as you went through.
Common language and fluency, so.
The last math adoption was for 2013, right?
Well, yeah.
What?
A long time ago.
And
And the reason why I want to bring that up is because within that time, there's more access to, for parents even too, right? That now there's a digital component to math programs, which allows teachers to be able to push content out directly to students if they're struggling with a particular concept. So if your child's struggling with adding fractions, we can find adding fractions, push it out directly to them. In addition to that, not only do you have the program, but the ability for teachers to be able to seek from a different grade level. If there's a deficiency, they can track down exactly what that is and go to the grade level where that might be taught to be able to support that instruction with that. Into math, one of the components we liked about it is it directly correlates to NWA math scores. So then that way we can use the assessment that the district already utilizes, and it will take that individual student's score and then put them on a path based off of how they performed on that assessment.
On the high end as well.
Yeah.
And an added bonus, it does have accelerated math too. So for the middle school, it did even offer a little bit more to that coherence for the other levels as well.
So you said there was 100 or so programs in ed reports, pared them down. How did they pare them down?
How did ed reports pare them down? They use a metric. They have like these metrics and it's
So-
yeah, very comprehensive. This is what they do. They look into all of the programs and they have different aspects that they are looking for in particular for each program.
One of the main ones is that, so we talked about rigor, coherence, and focus. They do a lot of screening with the ed reports. They also do a lot of alignment with the standards and the language of the standards. And is it accurate? Is it on grade level? Or are they dipping into something that's not in their grade level? Like, are they teaching something that's out of their grade level? So they have a lot of those screenings up front. So we only picked from.
So they have a lot of experts looking at
Yeah,
this stuff
lots.
and turning it
It's
out.
a national
Okay.
program that, districts around the entire country using.
Um,
We only picked from the green, they had it all green for, we could look at.
There's only one math teacher on the district committee?
No, just two of us that are here tonight.
Just,
The committee was made up of a teacher from every grade level.
Okay.
So I, like at K-5, all of our teachers teach all of math. At 6-8, we only had math teachers on the committee.
Okay.
One from each grade level, and then special education, from middle school as well.
so you had all of them, why did, so all of the math teachers had an input on this? Why? Why didn't just the administrators decide?
Because they're the ones doing the program.
No.
They're the ones implementing it.
Did you research the publishers? Do you know their
H2 math
stance?
is by Houghton Mifflin.
Because in Florida in 2022, they rejected 41% of math textbooks because they were sneaking in material forbidden by the state. So did you make sure that they didn't do any of that? In Florida in 2022, they rejected 41% of math textbooks because they were allegedly sneaking in material forbidden by the state. So did you make sure they weren't sneaking in inappropriate material? Because I just want to make sure when I'm voting for this, that it's not leaning to the right or to the left and it's balanced. Because I heard that some math books, they try and subvert our children. I'm sorry.
That was helpful.
Do you guys feel that the Into Math program is gonna help all of our students that go to three different high schools? I know that there would, I know we want a math program to better align with the high schools. So do you feel like it's gonna do well for each of the high schools, not every student will be successful? They're not gonna be a student that needs to take, I think, summer program was for one of the high schools because.
Correct, so.
But I just wanna make sure, like, if, I know this,
That's
I'm
a
sure,
great
I completely trust you guys. I just wanna see like if that's gonna help our students or, yeah.
So I can take that a little bit and jump in, Courtney, and Jackie, because we've had a lot of conversation about this and we'll continue to have. So, and since I've been here, it's been that conversation because of that challenge of
Right.
preparing kids for 3 high schools, plus some to go to Carmel and some go to elsewhere.
Right.
It's definitely a challenge. So we focused on this particular presentation on the core K-8 program. So we wanted that to align. We think this is rigorous and is gonna better prepare kids for all math because it covers all math. And then once the kids finish this, so some kids finish our 8th grade math and currently in 6th grade. Some kids finish in 7th grade and some of them go all the way through 8th grade. So we have, by the time they get to 8th grade, they're double accelerated and some are just accelerated 1 grade level. At that time, that middle group that's accelerated 1 grade level is the one we're having discussion about to prepare for their opportunities moving forward. Would I say that accurately? And that discussion is not tonight, not with this curriculum. That's an ongoing, we want to talk to the high schools about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly, I don't want to speak for you, but that's one reason why we liked it, and I agree 100% with what you do, I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah, thank you all so much for your work. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Great job. I appreciate any other question.
Sounds great.
Okay, so I will finish up with the, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I'll finish up with the cost. I already talked to Carly about this, so don't panic. So we are looking, we don't know how many years out we're gonna go with the program. If we're gonna do a 6-year purchase or 1-year purchase, there's different opportunities. If we do a 6-year, we save about $28,000 overall. So there's some savings by going out 6 years. So the total cost of the 6-year program would be $346,000, which sounds like a very big number, and it is. But that comes down to when you take out the professional development and when you take out the shipping and handling, it comes down to about $50,000 a year per student, which is pretty good for the number of students that we have for our group. And it's right around between $48 and $52 per student per year, which is close to some of our grade levels now. So we currently spend between $0 and $48 per student on the math program. So this would be in line with that, but I can't give you hey, this is gonna be this much more because it varies by grade level, but it'll be a cost that we will have to build in moving forward, but we are recommending that we do that. Carly and I will talk about how many years out we can go forward and what we want to do there. So we'll come to the board with a specific recommendation. We still have some tightening to do with numbers on each grade level. We want to make sure we got it right before we're ordered. Any questions?
Do they lock you in? Is there any, like, you have to be in for X number of years?
Well, that would be a 6-year.
I mean, but is there, you said you could decide other years, but is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
only in increments of 6?
No. One, it goes, actually goes through 8 years. So
Okay.
they have a 1-year purchase, a 2-year, a 3-year, a 4-year.
Perfect, thank you.
And the only difference it makes is on the digital resource for the kids. 1 year is $23.50, so it's $4 difference. And the printed books are $7.50 if you go to 1 year.
Okay.
So we would save $5 per student per year by going to a 6-year. If we go to a 7-year or a 5-year, it's saving $3.50 a kid. So on and so forth.
7 or 8.
A little bit more, but that's too,
Too long.
So we would expect you have to have a new program in 6 years.
or re-up. Yeah, we would want to evaluate in 6 years, whether the program is doing what we expected it to do, and part of that curriculum review cycle. So if there's any questions between now and our next meeting, that's great. We would like to move forward with this recommendation.
We'll vote on it in the next meeting.
Like, let's say we try it for a year, full scale, and it's terrible. Are we locked in? We're guaranteed for that we have to do that full 6 years with them?
If we did the 6 year, yes. We don't
There's no
think that
trial
can
period?
happen. Well, we
That's why
are.
we do this.
Well, that's only like 2
I
months.
mean, trial period.
It takes about 3 years to implement,
Full-scale
3 or
trial.
4 years to fully implement a program to know if it's really
Yeah.
liking it. We're fairly confident we've got that, but we can always do a shorter time period. It's just,
I think we would only do that if there was a cost effective. I mean, if we save the money by going out a lot of money by going out 6 years.
we are, but
I
if
think that's what
interest rates are high and you look at the interest rates, only 28,000 over that, I don't know what.
And like, I get it, they just did a big,
Yeah,
but is it about 2 months, is that right? The program?
yeah.
Is that? And so it's. Yeah, I just hate long-term contracts for.
Especially in high interest rate times.
But that could change.
Yeah.
I like that it pairs with the NWEA, like the fact that it syncs with that. And that's like kind of the end all be all as far as testing and data and all that. Like, that gives me a lot of confidence in this, like big time, more than others. Like, I don't know, I just weigh that quite a bit. For what it's worth.
More alignment with the 3 high schools. I know that's
Yeah,
always been
yeah.
something that we're trying to be better
It's a
with.
big deal.
So- Or possibly more alignment. It just, I think it will help some of those kids that fall short of that, have to take summer school and, yeah, so
Yeah, that's
it's a big one. Yeah.
that's a different issue, but.
Yeah.
That's a conversation for another day, but it does align with, hey, we want our kids to be better at math.
Be better at, yeah.
Yeah, period. We think this can help. And what's encouraging to me is working with the teachers that we have on our staff that are really into math and teach it, and they know it in and out is pretty awesome.
Okay. Future agenda items.
I got no, other than what we're gonna talk about here.
Okay, superintendent report.
Okay, first grade music concert coming up on Thursday night, I believe. We have, be going to the Exchange Club meeting tomorrow morning. You'd be Skippy at 7 o'clock in Gurney. We are honoring a student of the month, student citizen of the month, the second one. We had one from the middle school, Brianna Gobiowski earlier this year, and tomorrow is Matilda Jacobson. So congratulations to those two girls who have earned Citizen of the Month for the school. It's quite the honor. The teachers nominate the kids, and it's very, very big deal. So congratulations to those two students. That's all I got for now.
Carly, you're up.
Okay, just a really short report. E-rate, for those who are on the board, this, you probably recall this from last year. This is a program that Milburn utilizes to get a discount on, or like a full rebate on telecommunications and information services. So Dr. Lynn Tomalandis is our coordinator of tech services, and I worked together to determine what would be the wish list for E-rate. We're getting network switches. So the way this program works is we're reimbursed 40% of the total cost of whatever we put a bid out for from our wish list. So for the network switches, the total cost is just under 32,000. Milburn will get back just under 13,000. That is all I have.
Board reports. Anyone do anything fun over spring break?
Today, I pulled my kid out early, go, one of them was already out, so I pulled out early on for the eclipse. Saw a handful of other parents at the Lakeville Library doing the same. I understand it can be difficult to try and coordinate that from administration perspective, to get the kids out there.
Didn't get as dark as I thought it was gonna.
It got cold though.
Yeah.
So that was good.
I think that's an unexcused absence.
It's educational. Yeah, there are at least 6 different parents that I know from Milburn there. Kids played with a couple that they knew. Had one wish me luck at the meeting tonight. So had the librarian wish me luck at the meeting tonight. So,
You're still here.
I'm still-
So it worked. Just a reminder, I've gotten an email. I assume you all have gotten an email. Be sure to file your financial statements before May 1st. You all have to do that. Do we have closed session?
Yes, do we want to touch base on the contract?
I need the form.
Do we have a moment for Beth?
Yes, I'm gonna need a moment. I need the form so we can read it out and go into closed session. Do all that. We do. Right, what is it? Just collective negotiation, number 2. All right, I need a motion from the floor to go into closed session to discuss collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or the representatives or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, 5 ILCS 120-2C2.
So moved. Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Call the roll.
Tom Lorenzen,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Peter Petroni,
Yes.
Jillian Phelps, yes. John Ruggles,
Yes.
Fred Scottrell,
Yes.
and Lisa Booster.
Absent.
Absent. No.
Patty.
Not here.
Patty, great.
Patty Gray. Motion passes. We need to take 5 minutes.
You don't want to. No, it's not okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey. I missed it.
You're down to one. You're down. Thank you.
Oh, about the reading.
Okay.
Oh, all right, I thought he said something.
Really, I don't get it. Gotcha. Thank you for having your. Higher. We got some.
Okay, I got it.
I know, I didn't hear that, so I was like.
Jason.
Yes.
Hey.
Send an email out and that should cover
Yep. Of course, yes, here, we can start packing
For
up.
everybody, just so I can,
I don't think we need these since we're not on.
I'm gonna take all your guys' stuff. so I can Get out of here on a better.
Thank you.
Should have had a recess in the middle there. Stretch our legs.
I know.
That's.
That was.
Yeah. It's open sessions.
No.
Oh, no, right, but then you're gonna come back for open session.
We're not gonna take any action.
Are we gonna have a discussion?
No.
No.
What we're
Nothing
gonna,
will be said? No.
we'll just adjourn. So in the closed session, we're discussing meeting contract. And then, when we come out, we'll just adjourn.
Yeah.